Hello and welcome to Legal Podcast powered by India Law LLP. I am Ayush Kumar and today's episode we are examining the RBI's Integrated Ombudsman Scheme 2026, a consolidated grievance redressal framework. The scheme comes into force in July 2026 and is formally replacing the 2021 framework, marking a shift towards a centralized, technology driven, and regulator controlled model of consumer dispute resolution. The scheme opens with a clearly defined objective to provide a cost effective, expeditious, and non adversarial grievance redressal mechanism. This phrasing is deliberate. The RBI is not positioning the Ombudsman as a quasi judicial forum but as an extension of regulatory supervision. The scheme's scope is correspondingly wide. It applies not only to banks but also to eligible NBFCs, prepayment instrument issuers, and credit information companies, reflecting the reality that consumer harm increasingly arises beyond traditional banking relationships. One power that stands out is the RBI's authority to suspend the operation of any provision of the scheme, either generally or entity specific. Key terms such as deficiency in service, complaint, and award are framed broadly, limiting the ability of regulated entities to evade accountability through technical interpretation. Equally important is what the scheme excludes, which are the entities under resolution or liquidation. Ombudsman and Deputy Ombudsman are appointed from within the RBI's officer cadre, ensuring continuity in regulatory approach. Their fixed 3-year tenure strikes a balance between independence and administrative control. A major structural shift appears with the creation of centralized receipt and processing center. Complaints are no longer tied to geography. Every grievance, irrespective of location or entity, flows through a single digital and administrative gateway. This eliminates forum shopping and standardizes maintainability checks. Chapter 3 expands on the power of ombudsmen, which are both remedial and supervisory in nature. There is no monetary ceiling on the value of disputes that may be entertained. However, compensation from consequential loss is capped at 30 lakh, with an additional 3 lakh for harassment and mental anguish. The Ombudsman is meant to correct regulatory failure, not to replace civil courts as a forum for damages. Significantly, the Ombudsman may implead additional regulated entities where systematic non compliance is identified. This converts what may begin as a bilateral grievance into a broader compliance review. The requirement to publish an annual report further strengthens transparency and enables public scrutiny of conduct across the financial sector. The Ombudsman is required to decide complaints not merely on equity but by expressly applying principles of banking law, established industry practice, and binding RBI directions. This ensures that outcomes are aligned with regulatory policy rather than ad hoc notions of fairness. Another important factor is that Ombudsman power to close complaints conclusively. The Ombudsman acts as the final regulatory filter, deciding which grievances warrant deeper scrutiny and which do not justify continued regulatory intervention. While the grounds of complaint are framed broadly, the maintainability conditions are strictly enforced. Customers must first exhaust internal grievance mechanism, reinforcing the RBI's expectation that regulated entities resolve disputes at source. The scheme also draws clear boundaries between dispute involving commercial judgment, inter-entity conflict, employer-employee relationships, and matters already before court or tribunal are excluded. These exclusions preserve the Ombudsman's consumer-centric character and prevent regulatory overreach. Filing procedures are streamlined through the CMS portal, email, or physical submission. Initial scrutiny is intentionally limited to maintainability, not merits. The Ombudsman's power to call for information is backed by a strong deeming provision. Failure to respond is treated as an absence of defense. At the same time, the confidentiality obligations are balanced with natural justice, allowing controlled disclosure between parties where necessary. From the scheme, it is apparent that resolution prioritizes settlement, conciliation, and advisory intervention. Formal awards are the exception, not the rule. Proceedings are summary in nature and unbound by strict rules for evidence, emphasizing speed, accessibility, and practical outcomes. Where the awards are issued, they bind the regulated entity only upon acceptance by the complainant. This preserves the voluntary character of the process. Once accepted, however, Compliance becomes mandatory subject to limited appeal rights. The rejection powers under the scheme are wide. Complaints may be dismissed at any stage for lack of deficiency, insufficient cause, or evidentiary complexity. Appeals lie to the appellate authority with the RBI, reinforcing regulatory coherence and interpretative consistency rather than external adjudication. Regulated entities are placed under explicit compliance obligations. They must appoint principal nodal officers, prominently display scheme details, and ensure customer awareness across languages. The removal of difficulty clause operates as a regulatory safety valve. It allows the RBI to address unforeseen implementation challenges without resorting to formal amendments. Crucially, this flexibility is constrained by consistency with the parent statutes, ensuring administrative agility without legislative drift. The RBI's Integrated Ombudsman Scheme 2026 is best understood as a mature regulatory instrument. It integrates consumer protection and supervisory oversight into a single framework. More than a dispute resolution mechanism, it transforms individual grievances into tools of systematic correction, redefining the ombudsman as a sentinel of market conduct in India's evolving financial ecosystem. Thank you for turning into this legal podcast powered by India Law LLP. Stay informed and stay compliant, and I'll see you in the next episode.